Everybody, thanks for clicking on Storm Talk Wave 3 News. Meteorologist Brian Good here alongside Ryan Hoke. We've been going over the midday data, waiting to inform Kevin here shortly how things are looking as well. And we're all going to put our ideas together and get a forecast ready for you guys starting at 5 o'clock. But here's how the data looks so far. Let's start off with the risk levels. Today, the severe risk is located into the Plain States, not here locally. We've got the area in green, that is a marginal. Then you get into yellow, which is slight. In the orange shaded area is the enhanced slight, basically. The next level from that would be moderate and then high. There is no moderate or high for today. It's all mainly marginal, slight, and enhanced that the areas from Kansas to Texas are preparing for. And you see it there in the scale left to right. That's how the intensity goes on the potential for severe weather. Now, here is the new outlook for tomorrow. There is no moderate, but we are basically divided in our viewing area. Our southern half of our viewing area is in the enhanced area. Louisville, Jefferson County starts the slight part northward by a few counties, and then it really drops off. Again, as we mentioned, very tight gradient on the north side because you get into cool air rapidly once you go north of Louisville. But our areas around and south of the I-64 corridor are very unstable. Storm Prediction Center has noted they are still evaluating the data. They are not ruling out they will upgrade us to a moderate risk for that enhanced area in about 12 hours from now in their next update. Not ruling it out. They just want to go slow with this and get more data because some of the models are varying, and I'll show you why here in a second, on the placement, and that's their holdback. Keep in mind, in these outlooks here, I mean, they're just kind of awareness. The main thing is we're only going by model data that we have at the moment. Tomorrow we can use weather balloon data. We can actually use satellite and radar data, which tells us more of the truth scenario compared to what the models have been saying. So tomorrow we'll really have a better idea on the timing and placement and intensity and who's going to get what. So it's important to stay close to the forecast. Keep that Wave 3 weather app on your phone, and make sure to stay tuned to our newscast as well, because almost every newscast will have a new piece of data rolling in. So stay tuned, stay close, and we'll keep you updated. We got a lot going on with Churchill Downs opening night Saturday night and proms going on Saturday night. And a lot of you fans are worried about how this is going to play out. So just know we're watching it. So here's the latest. All right. I mentioned that outlook there for Saturday. And then as we went into Sunday, a new system develops. So this one's going to stay to our south. So no severe worries from that. Today, so far this afternoon, not a bad day. Yeah, cold start. But we've had some high-thin cirrus clouds around. Actually, the cirrus rolled into Louisville early this morning. I think it's really what kept us from going much lower than that 38. But still, a cold morning. Some spots around 29, including Brandenburg over to Frankfurt. We'll see the cloud cover continue to thicken and lower as we get into this evening. So the Derby events for the short term would be the Balloon Glow tonight, and then you have the mini marathon and the main marathon in the morning. And normally the balloon race in the morning at 7 a.m. But if you haven't heard yet, they have now moved the Great Balloon Race to this afternoon at 5:30 at Bowman Field. So now we got the Great Balloon Race today at 5:30, and then the Glow will follow that at the Kentucky Expo Center at 9 o'clock, and whenever the balloons get there from the race. So just some changes there for you balloon watchers on how that's going to play out. It may be cloudy at times, but the winds look light and looks good for the balloon events this evening, which is good. I'm glad they did that because it takes the stress off, I'm sure, of the balloon pilots as well. I'll have to deal with that tomorrow morning. Temperatures, a little slow. Right now, 59. We've seen this past couple of days. We've seen to make up ground by mid to late afternoon. But again, with the clouds thickening, that will determine how warm we actually get. But we should be in the 60s. All right, let's talk about the two models I'm looking at for the short term here on how the differences are stark right now. And I'm showing you the two basic extremes we are facing. I mentioned the cloud deck increasing this evening. There is a slight chance that we got some rain down to Arkansas and southern Missouri. If it can survive, it may push into our southwest sections by, say, 9 or 10 o'clock with some sprinkles. We got very dry air play, so the radar will likely look worse than what it's actually doing. In other words, the bark looks worse than the bite. So we'll keep an eye on that, but there will be a very small chance for brief sprinkles later this evening. Not a big deal. All right, then after midnight, here comes the warm front. Now, yes, it's 7 a.m., so you marathon runners, if the speed stays slow, you may get off running pretty good. And temperature's not bad in the 50s. But I got to caution you guys, the speed on this front is going to keep changing as the system evolves, so this could very well be over us at 7 a.m. Either way, we are expecting a band of rain and thunder to pass through here at some point near or just a couple of hours after sunrise. That is the window we're looking at for the warm front band of rain that will pass through here. Then once it passes through, the question is, where is it going to stop? Is it going to stop over Louisville? Is it going to go to Carrollton? Is it going to go to Cincinnati? because where it stops determines how the severe weather potential will play out later on in the day on Saturday. This is the RPM model. It's got us right along the front by midday tomorrow. Look what happens when it passes by. When the upper 60s to 70s immediately after it passes in our southwest sections here of our viewing area. Then as we head into the afternoon, the RPM says the front is going to stall north of Louisville from basically south of Bedford, not far from Paoli, Salem, near Henryville, all the way to Frankfort. That is the area it's targeting for the front to stall out. Therefore, we get a chance to warm up well into the 70s, even some 80s showing up. And then we get this situation here where a low pressure is going to ride along that front and track southeast. It's a potent low moving to the south and east. Now, along warm fronts, you get automatic turning of the winds anyway. The winds ahead of a warm front are usually east. Once a warm front passes by, they go south or southwest. You automatically get turning of the wind with a warm front. But you add an area of low pressure on top of that, the combination is not good. You get a lot of spinning going on, and that's why the tornado threat is more elevated than we usually would see in this kind of a setup here with some cool air around the region. And that's the reason why there's been more concern, because we have a lot of warm air being ejected into the system. And with that warm air, potential for dew points at least hit 60 degrees, if not higher, for moisture content, along with all that spinning that's going on, not good. And that's why we got to really nail down where the front will be versus the low, because that's an important area to watch. So 6 o'clock in the evening, at this point, it may try to fire something along the front. It's not showing it. I am not ruling out some isolated supercells may develop along that boundary, very close to us, if the RPM model is right on the placement. Once it goes by, it's showing a band of storms passing through here. Some of these could be potentially producing some very strong winds, maybe some isolated supercells in the bottom half of that. We'll watch it. Again, this is around 9 o'clock into the evening. Bad time for Churchill Downs, for sure. Then the low passes by, but here's the change in this. Now it looks like we're going to get a secondary low that's going to move through that will bring us another round of thunder. I don't think it's going to bring us severe weather, but some more lightning and heavy rain potentially passing through that second low just before sunrise Sunday. And then eventually we'll get some sunshine in here Sunday afternoon, but it's going to take a while to get rid of the clouds. That is RPM. Now let me show you the NAM model. Go back now to the current time. As I mentioned this evening, slight chance here for showers to move through. Now the NAM's a little more aggressive. It says it may survive quite a bit. I still think it's overdoing that because the dry air is quite potent. So I think it's going to get ate alive. Most of it will. But that's why that slight chance will be there for this evening. Here we go later on tonight. And tomorrow morning, time for the marathon time here. It is showing the warm front. It would basically be, I didn't draw it on this map. I apologize, but I'll draw it for you now. It should be right in through here. Rain, temperature around 48 for the runners. Moderate rain in some cases. Heavier rain developing though at our south, and it moves right over us by midday, it looks like. And then by the time we get into Saturday afternoon, the warm front actually is positioned more to the south than what the RPM has. That means the cooler air would be limited to southern Indiana and Louisville, in fact. The unstable air limited more to the south. We have to watch that because, again, along that front, we could start to see supercells fire right along that, and the NAM is trying to pick out an idea. So we got isolated supercells, and here comes the low pressure moving in at the same time. So that enhances the coverage potentially for damaging storms by 11 o'clock, according to the NAM. The most severe portion would be located here, but even through Louisville, it would be some very heavy rain, likely with severe weather and maybe an MCS is what it's trying to show, really, with a low pressure like that. Passing through central Kentucky with a high wind threat by mid to late evening, and then it's out of here. So the differences overall, again, here's a look at the potential energy from the NAM. You see how it has shifted on today's model runs, mainly for south of Bullitt County. Last night, it was mainly south of Jefferson County. So the NAM has shifted more to the south. It still picks up on the idea, though, that some supercells can fire in the warm air and along the warm front itself. We've got to watch both of those areas for the afternoon. The RPM is suggesting, like the GFS is, by the way, that it's going to be a little more to the north with the warm front. This is the amount of energy here for heat energy, basically, for the storms to feed on. Much more to the north, including Louisville. Therefore, its capes, its instability factors, also much more to the north. About 2,500 capes over Meade County. That is moderately unstable air that's moving through. And for the EHI, we use this to determine the rotation potential. EHI's up there close to 4 and 5 in central Kentucky. So tornadoes would then certainly be possible. It's a complicated setup, guys. I mean, the front placement will change everything on how that is going to work out. And it's literally going to be just a few counties difference will determine if Louisville is involved or not. But I will say, for those of you along the area of southern Indiana, Louisville, Oldham County, Bullitt County, Shelby County, all the way to Adair, that zone, you need to be on standby and prepared just in case for severe weather. All right? Don't worry about it, guys. Let us do the worrying for you. Much more today at 5.